Hello, everyone. Art Burns here. Hope you're all doing well today. I wish you well. I hope that you're all staying sane and staying safe through this very, very strange time we're living in. I'm back inside today because we're actually having some showers outside. Even though it looks very sunny, it's one of those Colorado things where it's just changing. They say out here in Colorado, if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. So I retreated inside because I was getting a little wet. But yeah, I just wanted to come back today and kind of talk more about some of the real benefits that come from when we're paying attention to our unfolding experiences and doing so without judgment. Now, first of all, this is not a intuitive kind of thing for most people. It takes practice. Most of us have built years and years and decades of our lives. We've built habits of judging, of judging ourselves, judging our experiences, judging other people, but especially judging ourselves. That's really the big one, right? And a lot of times, that judgment of ourselves is that sort of, that inner critic that we have, and that, now the inner dialogue that we have, that little inner chatter, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but when it becomes very critical and very judgmental, that's when it gets hard, because that judgment is holding us back from so many things. And that's what I was talking about yesterday, is that a lot of times we feel, because we're listening to that inner critic of ourselves, we feel like we have to somehow pretend to be something that we're not, because of what we're expected to be somehow, and it's when we're able to sort of release ourselves from that concept and from all of the judgments overall, right? And again, this is, when we train ourselves in non-judging, right? We can first start with just not judging, others. That's the easy way to not judge, right? And then not judging our experiences, right? Like really being able to just accept whatever the experiences are, right? Whether it's something pleasurable or unpleasurable, something filled with joy or sorrow, but just accept it as what it is, and understand that those are the absolute minority of our experiences are those strong emotional times. Most of the time that we're alive, and most of the things that we're experiencing are very neutral. And so by training ourselves to not judge our experience, and paying attention to that neutral a little bit more, what we're doing then is that's how we're training ourselves to not judge everything that happens, right? Not just our experiences on the outside, but also our experiences on the inside, right? Not judging our emotional experiences, not judging our thoughts, not judging our sensations of our body, not judging our performance, not judging, the things that we do, the things that we say, and not regretting things after we've done them, and really, again, like really allowing ourselves to be who we really are. And something that a really important part of this now is that when we're able to do this on a really deep level, like really not judge ourselves at all. And again, this is not something that's intuitive for most people. It takes work. I know it took a lot of work from me, and but when I say a lot of work, it's like, it's not hard work. It's just kind of, it takes some dedication, and I don't want to make it seem too hard, because it's really not. It does take a little bit of time, but not that much, and it's also not a binary thing. Like, you start feeling results pretty soon, and which is really exciting. So I want to assure you that this is not something where you're going to be climbing a 10-mile hill kind of thing, but what happens is, when we allow ourselves to really, when we allow ourselves to not judge our emotions and our inner experiences, right? What then we're doing is we're looking at things very honestly, right? And when we can look at things honestly and openly, and again, without judgment, what we do is we really, really get a sense of self-awareness on a very, very deep level, right? And again, you'd be surprised, like, once you start training yourself in this, you'd be surprised at how little self-awareness you had before, and I mean, I always kind of considered myself a pretty self-aware person, but it was nothing compared to after I got into some of these practices, and the thing is, though, that when we develop a self-awareness for ourselves, there's something really ironic about that, and something really beautifully ironic about that by increasing our own awareness, we actually cultivate the conditions inside of ourselves to feel empathy for others. Okay, now empathy is enormously important. That's why I talk about it a lot here. Okay, I talk about it all the time with people. Empathy is a key domain of emotional intelligence, which emotional intelligence can help you in every aspect of your life. The more emotionally intelligent you are, the more you're going to be successful in whatever you're trying to do. That's just a fact, right? But empathy is also in any interpersonal interaction that you have, any interpersonal experience whatsoever, whether it's with a loved one, whether it's with a colleague, whether it's with a stranger on the street. Empathy is the key to creating a really rich and wonderful experience in our interpersonal experiences, right? And this is something that's more important now than it ever has been before, right? Because empathy is what allows you to feel inside your body what somebody else is feeling inside theirs, right? And right now, there is so much fear, there is so much apprehension, there is so much uncertainty, and just general grief and just like strong emotions that are going on. And the more empathy that you can feel for others, the more you're then going to be able to comfort them. And that is the way in which empathy becomes compassion, which I'm going to talk about tomorrow. Okay, but the same way that as I talked about yesterday and the day before, that happiness and alignment with our true inner nature and our true self, the real person who we really are, not the person who we tell ourselves we're supposed to be, but those things arrive from the same place that empathy does, which is the ability to release ourselves from these judgments, right? And again, it's the judgment of others, it's the judgment of our experiences, and most importantly, it's the judgment of ourselves. And that's the hierarchy, right? Like that's the step 1, step 2, step 3, and that's in order of difficulty. And so again, though, I know that I know that I make it sound simple, because it is very simple, right? It just is about paying attention to what's happening as it's happening, and doing so without judging things, right? That I know that sounds absurdly simple, and it is absurdly simple, right? The thing is, though, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's not always that easy, because again, you have years and years and years of habits that kind of make you judge, make you judge yourself, make you judge others, make you judge your experiences, right? And so it does take a little time and a little bit of effort to undo some of those habits. But believe me, you'd be very, very surprised at how quickly this can happen. Any habit you want to form is doable within about 30 days time. So that's all we're talking about, okay? It's doing simple practices every day for 30 days. 5 or 10 minutes. I mean, we're not talking about a ton of time, especially the way that I teach it. I do it, I give you a couple of formal practices, and then I help you by adding the ability to pay attention to what you're doing while you're doing the stuff that you're already doing, okay? The simple, mundane things in your life. And believe me, folks, I've worked with a lot of people at this point, and I'm telling you, within about 30 days, people start feeling amazing differences. So if you would like to know about any of these practices and like to talk about this at all, please hit me up with a comment or send me a direct message. I would love to get into the conversation. I love helping people with this, because I know how much it did for me. That there's no denying how much it did for me. And that's why I know how much it can help you as well. So if you're interested, drop a comment, send me a direct message. Otherwise, just keep watching these videos, and I'm teaching you everything I can here. All right, everybody, thanks for listening. I wish you well, and I'll be back again tomorrow to talk about how empathy turns into compassion and why we want that to happen. All right, everybody, take care. Have a good day. Bye-bye.